Hello, welcome to this series on biblical vocabulary that I'm putting together for my patrons on Patreon. This series is a token of my appreciation for your support. In this series, what I will be doing is going through from Parsha to Parsha, Torah portion to Torah portion on a weekly basis. And I will be picking out 7 verses corresponding to the 7 sections, the seven daily sections of the Parsha. And I will pull out a verse, and within that verse, I will focus on one word that I believe is good to add to your toolbox. Additionally, what I will be doing is I will be reading the verse in Hebrew. I will not be providing a textual translation. There will only be Hebrew there. I encourage you to read the verse along with me. It'll be on the screen or in your Bibles, and to try to accustom yourself to hearing and reading the verse in Hebrew. I think one of the lacking points, one of the points in which a lot of the Hebrew courses are lacking, is that there's not enough just hearing Hebrew read. There's sort of this developmental approach where you go from baby sentences to big sentences, but somehow I find there's a disconnect along the way, and a lot of people never quite make it beyond the baby sentences. So people can translate individual phrases, but they don't necessarily develop a sensitivity to sort of how a Hebrew sentence works. So I think the only way to really get that is by reading a lot, and also hearing a sentence read and translated, hearing a verse read and translated. I think that is probably the best way. So hopefully we can, so to speak, kill 2 birds with 1 stone in this series. Hopefully this will be a good supplement to whatever reading courses you're using as your main study. Okay, so for this week, we're doing Parshat Vayigash. This corresponds to Genesis 44:18 through 47:27. And this is for the reading cycle for the year 5779 in the Jewish calendar. Okay, let us begin. Okay, verse 1. Genesis 44:18. Vayigash elav Yehuda. Yehuda approached him, meaning Yosef. V'yomer, and he said, Be, concerning me, Adoni, my Lord, Yedaber no avdecha, your servant, may he please speak. Na is please. Devar ba'azne Adoni, a word or a matter in the ears of Adoni, my Lord. Ve'al yichar abcha, and his anger shall not be aroused. Your anger shall not be aroused. Ba'avdecha, with your servant, referring to himself. Why? Ki kamocha Kafaro, because you are like Pharaoh. You are like Pharaoh, meaning you're all powerful, essentially, and please don't get angry at me. Okay, so the word I want to focus on here is Adoni. It's my Lord. Adon is Lord, singular. It's just the base word, Adon. Adoni is my Lord. Adon shali, Adoni. It's the same phrase. So, my Lord. Now, you might be familiar with the word Adonai, meaning the Lord. That is sort of the majestic form, and really only refers to God, to the Lord. But this form, Adoni or Adon, can refer to a human Lord, and also sometimes refers to the Lord, Adon. But in the possessive form, Adoni, it is going to be referring to a human Lord. Okay, you will see that word around. Okay, 2, Genesis 44:31. Vahaya, and this is Yehuda speaking further in the ears of Yosef. Vahaya kiroto, and it will be that when he shall see, speaking of Yaakov. So Yehuda is speaking about Yaakov to Yosef. Haya kiroto, whenever he shall see, ki ein hanar, that the youth, the lad, the young man, is not there. Ein is negated, he's just not there. V'met, and he shall die. He'll die. V'haridu avdecha, and it will bring down your servant. Et sevas avdecha, the old, in the old age, the old age of your servant, who Avinu, our father, biyogod, with groaning or with suffering, distress, she'ola, to the grave. It's a hard sentence. It's a little backwards from how you would say it in English. Okay, so the word here that is good is na'ar. Na'ar means the youth, the young man, the lad, some translations call it. Hana'ar is the youth, and na'ara, with a hey on the end, is the young lady. If in some of the earlier books in the Bible you don't have a hey for the feminine, you would have a kamatz underneath the resh to say the word na'ara for a young lady. So anyway, na'ar, the youth, is masculine. Okay, further. Genesis 45:8. This is Yosef speaking to the brothers. Va'ata, and now, lo atem shalachtem oti. You didn't send me. You didn't send me. Hannah, here. You didn't send me here. Basically, it wasn't you pulling the strings. Ki ha-Elohim. Rather, it was the God. It was God. The one and only God. He's the one who pulled the strings and orchestrated my coming down to Egypt. Vaisimenu la'av. And he's placed me as a father, le Pharaoh, to Pharaoh, ula adon lekol beto, and as a master for his entire house. Adon, we saw that word previously. Ula adon lekol beto, as a master to his entire house. U moshel bekol eretz Mitzrayim, and as a ruler, a moshel bekol eretz Mitzrayim, in all of the land of Egypt. So moshel means a ruler. In modern Hebrew, the government is called the mimshalah. Moshel. So moshel is a ruler. Okay, next word, the fourth aliyah, Genesis 45:19. Ve'ata tzuveta, and you are tzuveta zot. You are commanded this. This is your commandment. Again, this is Yosef speaking to the brothers. He says, zot. Oh, excuse me. Ve'ata tzuveta. This you are commanded. You are commanded. Zot asu, this you shall do. Kachu lachem me'eretz Mitzrayim, agalot, take for yourself, kechu lechem, take for yourself, me'eretz Mitzrayim, from the land of Egypt, agalot, wagons, letapchem, for your toddlers, your infants, your children. V'neshechem, for your wives. Nasatem et avichem, and pick up your father. Take up your father. Uva'atem, and come to Egypt. Okay, the word here is agalot. Agalot, wagons or carts. Agalot. It comes from the Shorish Ein Gimel Lamed Egel, which means round. It means round. So obviously the wagon is called round. It comes from that because it has round wheels. It's a wheeled thing. So interestingly enough, we also, maybe if you are familiar with a Jewish practice, you'll know that on the Sabbath, we have lots of hearty foods that we can keep warm over the course of the Sabbath. So one of them is a German-style potato pudding. Just chopped potatoes and an egg, and it's basically cooked together. That's called a Kugel. Kugel. In the German, they call it a Kugel, or in Yiddish. So one of the reasons that we have it on the table, at least one of the key reasons, and of course Jews love wordplay, is because the Kugel is ka'igel. It is like it's round. It sounds like it's round. So many people have the custom to make their kugels round. And so kugel sounds like ka'igel, like in the form of a circle or like a circle. And they're trying to allude to the cyclical nature of the Jewish week. We just are rolling through time here, 1 week at a time. So there is a subtle poetry just in the sort of the foods we eat on the Sabbath and whatnot. And of course, the kugel is one of those foods we eat every week. Okay, so agalot, wagons, egel, round. Okay, so let's go to 5, the 5th Aliyah. Genesis 46:1. The Yisa Yisrael, and Yisrael took up, he journeyed. V'kol asherlo, and all that was with him. V'yavo be'era Sheva. He came to Beersheba. The hay here is a directional hay. He came to Beersheba. V'yizbach zvachim, and he slaughtered sacrifices, zvachim, le'elohei aviv, to the God of his forefathers, Yitzchak. God of his forefather, Yitzchak. Okay, zvachim, v'yizbach, zvachim, you see that the noun and the verb is the same root. So v'yizbach means literally to slaughter, and zvachim literally means slaughterings. He slaughtered slaughterings. Right? But the context, he slaughtered slaughterings to who? Le'elohei aviv, to the God of his father. So, therefore, we would call this sacrifices. So this word typically is going to mean sacrifices in the Torah, but we want to look at context to make sure that that fits. So most of the time it's going to be sacrifices, but we want to look at context to make sure that that is in fact what is intended by the text. Not every animal we slaughter is a sacrifice. Okay, zvachim, sacrifices. Okay, 6. V'yasor Yosef merkavto, and Yosef harnessed his merkava, his chariot. V'ya'al, he went up, likrat Yisrael, to greet Yisrael, Aviv, his father, Goshna, to the land of Goshen. Goshen is the base word. The hey here is a directional hey. So he went towards the land of Goshen. V'yera alav, and he saw him. V'yipol al tzavarov, and he fell on his neck, meaning he basically hugged his father. He fell on his neck. V'yev, and he cried. Al tzavarov, on his neck. Od. Od here can mean further or can mean a lot. Like it continued on for some time. So it's a moving scene. Yosef and his father, Yaakov, being reunited and crying together. Okay, so the word merkava means chariot, and merkavto means his chariot. The hay. It doesn't sound right to say merkav ho. It doesn't sound right. So the hay becomes a tav in this situation, and it's merkav to. Typically, you'll see something like that with words ending in hay that are possessed by a he, a man. Merkav to, merkava. Interestingly enough, there's a tank. A military tank in Israel, they call it the Merkava. So that word is still in use, even though we don't really use chariots anymore. It's become a tank. Okay. So which I guess is what a chariot was in the ancient world. I guess it was the ancient world equivalent to a tank. Okay, 7. Genesis 47:11. V'yoshev Yosef es Aviv, and Yosef settled his father, et Aviv, he settled his father, ve'et Echav, and his brothers, v'yitein lahem achuza, he gave to them a possession, be'eretz Mitzrayim, in the land of Egypt, b'meitav ha'aretz, in the best of the land. So, Meitav comes from the word Tov. Tov is good. So, B'meitav means the best. B'meitav ha'aretz, in the best of the land. Be'eretz Ramses, in the land of Ramses. Ka'asher tziva Pharaoh. Just like tziva Pharaoh. Just like Pharaoh had commanded. And it has this word Ramses. It's clearly an Egyptian word. It does not look like a Hebrew word. As you develop a vocabulary, you will be able to tell very easily which words are not Hebrew, which words are loan words. So Ramses clearly is an Egyptian word. It's a name, a place of a name of a place. Okay, and Ramses clearly is named after the pharaoh Ramses. This leads a lot of people to think, to surmise that the Jews, the children of Israel, came down to Egypt in the time of Ramses, and that the pharaoh of the Exodus was Ramses the second. Now, there is, of course, a lot of theories pushing this way and that concerning the timeline as to when this happened. So that is something that if you look into it, you'll see lots of different theories about when exactly the Exodus happened, whether it happened in the time of Ramses or it happened in the time of another pharaoh. But anyway, it is this word Ramses in this verse that leads them to conjecture that it was in the time of Ramses. Okay, Anyway, that is 7 verses, 7 words. Again, what I would do is I would write these down in a notebook, or I would make flashcards, and I would try to acquire these words. I chose these words for the most part because they're not as common in the initial word lists that you'll find in Hebrew books, and many of them are interesting. They're interesting words. And what I thought you could do is basically start developing your toolbox, your Hebrew toolbox, by getting some of those words that other students would have to run to a dictionary for. So again, this is meant as a supplement to your reading courses that you've already taken. So I hope this is beneficial. We'll see you next week with another installment. Again, I appreciate your support. And this is a token of my gratitude. Thank you very much. Kol Tuv.